to my channel. I am Emily Lawrence, a self-published author and freelance editor. My books will be linked down below. They are available on Amazon as a paperback, ebook, and on Kindle Unlimited. All of my editing services will be linked down below as well. I work through Fiverr right now. Hopefully in the near future I will have my own website. Today's video is zero draft versus first draft. What is the main difference? The main difference is honestly bare bones. A zero draft is the bare bones of your manuscript. A lot of people class it as almost an extended outline, where a first draft is an actual draft. You have the beginning, the middle, the end, everything in between. You just need to clean it up. The manuscript I am working on right now is book 3 in the Adventures of Draco and Luna series, and it, word count wise, sits at 81,000 words. To me, I am classing this draft as a zero draft, not a first draft. For the sheer fact, I wrote this completely out of order. So I kind of jumped between scenes. I wrote whichever one kind of made me excited at the time until I had the whole thing wrote. So I have the beginning, I do have the middle, and I have the end. But when I was reordering the scenes and kind of compiling them into one document to read through, I did notice that I am missing a lot of transition scenes. And I'm missing a couple other kind of fun scenes to really showcase characters and set up little foreshadowing things for future books. Which, if I had to hazard a guess, I would say by the time I am done adding all my scenes and doing my developmental edit, I am probably going to add anywhere from probably 20 to 30 more scenes. Now, when I say scenes, I don't mean each one's going to be 1 to 2,000 words. Some of the scenes are going to be a little paragraph to bridge chapter 3 and chapter 4. But I can already tell I'm going to have a significant amount to add to this book beyond just the basic description and character arcs and character voices that I typically already have to do in developmental edits. Because at the word count it is, I have a lot of author friends, a lot of writer friends that argue because of the word count it's a first draft, not a zero draft. Which, this is one of those things in the writer community that I've noticed that you can ask 10 different writers and they're going to give you 10 different answers on what makes a zero draft and what makes a first draft. I look at it as this manuscript in particular, because I am big on each manuscript is going to be different. You're going to write it differently, you're going to outline it differently, you're going to edit it differently. Mostly because you grow as a writer, you grow your craft, you learn new things, you want to try different outlining techniques or writing techniques, things like that. Where the way I wrote this book completely out of order and I had to go back in and reorder it is not how I typically like to write my novels. I am normally very much a chronological writer. I start at chapter 1, scene 1, and I work my way down. This book has a lot of moving parts. You see a lot of different perspectives. We have our main two characters, obviously Draco and Luna. The majority of the book is through Luna's eyes and her perspective, like the rest of the series will be. But you also see perspectives. While editing this video, I realized that I listed out the character perspectives within the book, and I realized watching it back that that's actually a fairly big spoiler. So I just removed it and I popped on here just to say that you see Luna's perspective and then you see 7 other perspectives throughout the series, or throughout the novel. We're doing that for a couple different reasons. One, we found that it adds a whole nother layer to the story. Because when Luna gets to our city of Whitewater, which is a slave pit or a slave trade fighting ring city, it's under the ocean, it's protected by this magical dome. When she gets to the city, she sees it as this dark, evil, kind of city of the damned place. Which it is. The mer people kidnap people from the surface to bring down for the slave trades, things like that. So it is very much a dark, scary place. And we see that through her perspective. Through the other people's perspectives that have lived down there, have grown up down there, have been raised in this city, while a lot of them do admit that, no, this is wrong, like, this is bad, we see it as still their home. Not saying it's good, and we're not saying it's a good home, but we see it through different perspectives and different ways, and we see the different jobs, and we kind of see how the city runs as a whole, which also helps with, there's quite a few scenes within the city that foreshadow other books and foreshadow things to come. But because we're adding in that many new perspectives, there's a lot of moving parts. This is a very big book, and this is a pinnacle book in the series because it starts the hunt for the boxes, which if you've read book 2, you know what the boxes are. I'm not going to give away too much because I don't want to spoil it. But it starts the hunt for the boxes, and it shows, kind of forces Luna to grow up and realize that the world isn't cookie cutter cute that she thinks it is, or that she thinks it can be. But because of that, because it's such a pinnacle book in the series, there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of things that need done within the book, which means there's a lot to be added to the book. I have a lot of scenes that I need to add that are both critical to character growth, critical to plot points, critical to the series as a whole, that makes me call it a zero draft, because I know there's a lot more that needs to go into this book other than just descriptions and things like that. And that to me is the main difference between a zero draft and a first draft. It is how much work needs to go in to make it that second draft.